You also talk about a modern day enemy and you single out China, which is surprising because there are other options. I mean, Russia obviously a contender. And if you look even around the splintering of politics around Europe, swing far right and far left, perhaps a European country could be seen as a contender as well. So just explain why China is the enemy.
Okay, enemy is a very strong word. They're not our enemy right now. They're a strategic
competitor. Well, you said China is a modern day Germany. Germany
yes.
was the enemy.
No, that's your intonation. Germany became the enemy, but prior to that it was a strategic competitor. So right now China is a strategic competitor to America and Western value systems that support the American regime and process. And I've been talking about it since my first book, Breaking the Code of History. In fact, in 2003, when we sat here on March the 13th, and I talked about who would be the next buyers of the stock market cycle, we had this conversation about the rise of China and what it would really mean. And all of these processes start with demographic expansion, they start with economic expansion, and they start with the next process is the requirement to resource that population. So you build a resource chain, which is the Belt and Road system. It relies on a land-based system because they don't have control of the sea at the moment. It's the one thing the US Navy controls. But believe me, when they have a bigger Navy, it'll be sea-based too. They seek to globally resource themselves like Britain and America to compete. And at the same time, Obama's weak leadership has drawn out the intention of the Chinese to the point where they've militarized and expanded. And if you go and speak to the Uyghurs, they're not having a particularly nice time under Chinese leadership whatsoever. They've been reconditioned in the way that Germans were in concentration camps. So this idea that there's a benevolent transition of power, and if you look around the Pacific Rim, all the countries in the Pacific Rim are responding with an arms race. Australia, for example, has the biggest arms program and naval development program that we've seen in its history since the Second World War. So there is an immediate danger in the region, and even the Royal Navy is now involved in the freedom of the seas and the protocols that go around it. So it's an immediate issue to us.